Today we're going to talk about Soukaku. She's really popular, but also misunderstood and misused in my opinion. One of the most important parts of her kit is her self-attack buff, which can be transferred to any other character. And this buff can go up to 1000 attack. But I will be honest and say that Hoyo made her skill descriptions easy to misunderstand, and there is a detail about how attack is calculated in Zenless that many people don't know of yet. And since we're starting to accumulate discs, it's important to talk about it. Disclaimer, I'm not going to talk about Soukaku as a non-field damage dealer, but solely as a support. Soukaku can accumulate 3 vortex stacks, and those are displayed under her HP and on her weapon. You get 1 stack using her EX special, so only if you have the energy for it, 1 if you do a chain attack, which is the move that happens on stunned enemies, and finally all 3 by using her ultimate. Holding her special, even if you don't have the energy for it, will check your stacks and buff her own attack. At the highest core skill level, the buff will be 20% over total attack, with a maximum of 500 if 0, 1 or 2 stacks are present. You will not lose them. The buff is doubled, so 40%, with a cap of 1000 if all 3 stacks are there. This will consume them. But keep in mind that 500 and 1000 is just the maximum amount. The buff will still be 20% or 40% over total attack, which we will talk about more later. While you're holding the special to activate this buff, you're given 2 options. Stay on her and ignore the quick assist trigger on the bottom right, or use it and move to the next character. The buff that she had will be transferred to the next character when the switch is done via chain attack or quick assist. And again, she triggers a quick assist on demand by simply holding the special. Her gameplay becomes really easy. EX and chain when you can to obtain stacks. Once at 3 stacks, you hold her special or trigger a chain event. If you don't have the energy to farm stacks, but still want a buff in the meantime, you can just hold the special for the 500 capped buff. You will then pass this extra attack to your main damage dealer. For this to work best, there are 2 tips I can give you. First, she should be right before the damage dealer. For example, I will have Ellen number 1 and Soukaku number 3. This will allow quick assist to always go from Soukaku to Ellen. However, in the case of chain attacks, you can choose which character to go on. So I will give you some examples of chain attack scenarios. When you fill the dates bar, you will have access to 1 chain attack against common enemies, 2 chain attacks against elites, and 3 against bosses. In each case, I'm assuming we trigger the dates bar on a 3rd hypothetical stunning unit, Icon, Koleda or Envy. If we have only 1 chain attack, we go from the stun agent to Soukaku. We don't have 1 more chain attack, but we do have her quick assist. That will make us switch and transfer the attack to the damage dealer. If we have 2 chain attacks, from the stun agent we can go to the damage dealer first, following it to Soukaku and then quick assist back to the DPS. Think about her quick assist as always being able to have another chain attack. If we are against a boss with 3 chain attacks, we simply have to go to the damage dealer, then the stun unit again, and finally Bang Boo so that it gets followed up by Soukaku, which once more will trigger the quick assist for us to go back to the main DPS. Now, all of this can be done faster if instead you just go to Soukaku and then to the main DPS. Remember that performing the chain attack is not mandatory. If you want to give your buff right away to someone and not waste time, just don't switch. Now, I made this video because the wording of her skills always made me wonder if I was doing everything correctly. But there are a few more things that she provides to the team. They are not very universal like an attack buff, but are more specific to Ellen and future ice agents. When at least 1 more ice is in the squad, using all 3 vortex will also buff everyone's ice damage by 20%. And her mindscapes also help a bit in her supporting role. M1 will increase the duration of her buffs, although they already lost a long time. M2 will give her a chance to get vortex stacks with basically everything that already doesn't give you one, plus some energy, but this is mostly if you unfield her. And 4 will decrease ice resistance by 15% when hitting someone with her old skill or chain attack. All the others are not necessary for support Soukaku. The only talent that influences how much she buffs is her core skill, but it's totally fine to level up at least her special and chain attack a bit, as they are going to be used often and provide decent damage. As far as builds and weapons, I don't want to stop too much on them as the game is still very fresh, but obviously anything that gives her attack and energy are perfect. Just don't go above 2500 total attack, as 40% of it is 1000, which is the maximum you can get. Also be careful because in Zenless, certain attack percentage sources do not count towards Soukaku's buff. If an effect or disc just gives you 10% attack, it will count. But if an effect buffs attack percentage with a condition, even if you fulfill the condition, it will not count towards your buff ever. I know it's very confusing, especially coming from other Oyo games. The perfect example is Hormone Punk, which basically just buffs attack when switching to a character. The extra attack given by the set does not count for her buff. Woodpecker Electro does something similar, and again, it will not work. And that's weird because both just say attack percentage, but they are treated differently. Think of it as your stats, once you select your team, are set in stone and they are now considered your base stats during combat. That's the best way I can explain it really. But in any case, just don't use these sets and use something like Swing Jazz instead. Okay, hey, look at this sad graph before you leave. And thank you so much for watching, stay tuned for more videos. I'm probably posting both Genshin and Zenless videos on this channel. Mainly Genshin, but I'm loving Zenless, so probably both. Thank you for watching, fix the graph if you want, and leave a like. Have a good one.